All right, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving into a source that might just redefine what you think of as a powerful story. It's titled A Simple Love Story for English Learners. But trust me, what's between those lines is, well, it's a really profound exploration of human connection and, the quiet strength of patience and how truly real relationships are built, not just declared.
Indeed. Yeah, our mission today is really to go beyond the surface of this accessible narrative. We want to extract the deepest nuggets of insight, exploring how these universal themes of love, vulnerability, and personal growth, how they're woven into a tale designed for clarity, yes, but also for immense resonance. This deep dive, I think, will illuminate how even the quietest stories can echo with the loudest truths about what it means to connect.
Right. Imagine a small town, a cozy bookstore, and two people who definitely weren't looking for some grand romance. No dramatic declarations, no, movie scene fireworks. Just two individuals, one shared space, and the unassuming magic of small, unfolding moments. It's the kind of story that prompts you to consider. Are we missing the profound in our everyday quiet interactions? So we open in chapter 1, aptly titled, The Quiet Beginnings, The Power of a Simple Hello. Our protagonist is Mia, nestled in her small bookstore on Maple Street. What strikes me immediately about Mia is her love for the quiet mornings, the books that, as the source beautifully puts it, smelled like paper and time, just lovely. Yet for all her immersion in stories, she doesn't believe in love stories herself, thinks they only lived inside books. What do you make of that initial paradox?
It's a brilliant setup, isn't it? The author establishes Mia in this world overflowing with grand narratives of love, yet her personal conviction is that, such romance is confined to fiction. This immediate contrast isn't just character building. It primes us, I think, for the story to subtly dismantle that very notion, showing us that love can emerge from the most grounded, unstory-like beginnings. It's not about denying love, maybe, but redefining where it truly resides.
Exactly. And into this quiet, perhaps kind of cynical world steps Leo. He's new in town, having left a city job, seeking peace, something slower. He walks into Mia's bookstore, the bell above the door rings softly, and that's the moment. He simply says, "Hi," and Mia, almost on autopilot, asks, "Can I help you find something?" His reply is so understated yet perfect. Maybe a story I haven't read before. Just a few words, but they carry so much weight.
They really do. And what's truly fascinating here is how the story underlines that profound connections don't always need fireworks or, a dramatic meet cute. This simple hello is presented as the singular word capable of starting a whole new chapter. It challenges our societal script for romance, doesn't it?
It really does.
It makes you wonder, are we too often looking for the cinematic grand gesture, completely missing the gentle hum of real connection that's happening in our everyday lives? It suggests the most impactful beginnings are often the most unassuming ones.
It absolutely makes you think. Mia hands him the quiet heart. He buys it, but then instead of leaving, they just linger. They talk about the weather, books, and the smell of new coffee. It's so ordinary, yet it becomes this significant ritual. Leo starts returning daily, not always for books, sometimes just for a conversation. And you see these incredibly subtle shifts. Mia starts anticipating the bell at 9:15 every morning. And Leo notices the way she tucked her hair behind her ear when she laughed. It's not about grand declarations. It's this almost imperceptible deepening.
Right. This quiet accumulation of shared moments, shared mornings, and slow smiles that the source describes as allowing something soft, quietly to begin to grow between them. That's the true foundation. The author masterfully uses these seemingly mundane details to illustrate profound development. It's a powerful counter-narrative to our often high-octane expectations of how connection should form. It teaches us about the patience required, maybe, and the subtle signs we should appreciate in deepening affection, rather than waiting for obvious overt signals.
So true. As their connection settles into this rhythm, the story moves into chapter 2, Unveiling Truths, Rain, and Confessions. And here, the weather itself seems to act as a catalyst. It's a Thursday morning, a sudden downpour, and Mia actually feels almost disappointed thinking Leo won't come.
Right, that little detail.
But at 9:17, he arrives, wet but undeniably present. Their playful banter, "You're late, you're early," immediately signals that shift in their relationship, and Mia pours him coffee without asking. That silent gesture really speaks volumes, doesn't it?
It speaks volumes because it signifies a level of intimacy and comfort that has blossomed without a single explicit conversation about it. It's an intuition. But what stands out even more, I think, is Leo's perspective on the rain. It's beautiful when you're inside, when it's not touching you. The narrative specifically tells us his words stayed in her head for hours. It's not just a quirky line, it's a window into a unique way of seeing the world, hinting at a deeper complexity beneath his quiet demeanor, perhaps a vulnerability he's not quite ready to share yet.
And that complexity then unfolds into this really powerful moment of vulnerability. Leo confesses he left his job because he wasn't happy, felt empty, moved to the town hoping to find something real. And Mia, in turn, recognizes that feeling too well, of being stuck in a life that looked good from the outside but felt wrong on the inside. This shared understanding, this mutual confession of quiet desperation, it's so potent. And Mia then offers this incredibly profound insight. I think real things come slowly. Some people look for fireworks, big signs. But I think the real things are quiet, like books, or morning coffee, or rain.
Wow. Wow is right. If we connect this to the bigger picture, this chapter powerfully highlights the quiet strength found in shared vulnerability. It's not just about what they say, but the profound act of listening and recognizing echoes of their own experiences in another.
Oh, exactly.
Mia's insight about real things coming slowly isn't just a casual observation. It's a direct challenge to the conventional narrative of instant gratification, not just in relationships, but in life itself. It argues that true depth, true connection, comes from a willingness to be honest and patient, even when that honesty is uncomfortable. And the detail that the bell didn't ring for the next 2 hours, and neither of them noticed. It just beautifully encapsulates how lost they were in that profound moment of authentic, unhurried connection.
That deep connection then faces its first real test as we move into Chapter 3, Absence and Hope, the book he never returned. Weeks pass, and Leo doesn't show up. The bookstore, for Mia, feels quieter, heavier, like a missing page in a book. She still glances at the door at 9:15, a quiet, almost unconscious ritual of hope. What does this period of absence signify for Mia, do you think?
Well, this period of absence is absolutely critical for understanding the true depth of their connection, I believe. It's through Leo's physical absence that Mia becomes acutely, almost painfully, aware of his presence in her life. The sudden quietness of the bookstore without him isn't just a description of the space. It's a metaphor for the quiet space he has come to occupy in her heart. It transforms her quiet waiting from a mere habit into a conscious act of yearning.
And then she finds the quiet heart, the very book he bought on their first meeting, tucked away behind the counter, unreturned. And inside, a folded note. Leo writes, "I didn't know how to say goodbye. I didn't plan to leave like this. Thank you for the mornings, the coffee, the peace. You reminded me that simple things can be beautiful again. I'm going back to the city for now, but I'll return this time, I promise. If I ever finish writing my own story, you'll be the first to read it." Mia's reaction is described as this fascinating blend of surprise, disappointment, warmth. No tears, no anger. It's so understated.
Her lack of a dramatic reaction is key, isn't it? It suggests a maturity in her understanding of connection and acceptance of its sometimes messy, unpredictable nature. And the ritual that Mia then begins, placing a second cup next to her own every morning, just in case. It's such a beautiful act of quiet hope, a concrete manifestation of faith in a promise, however uncertain. She isn't just passively waiting, she's actively maintaining a space for connection, a physical placeholder for what might return. It really makes you consider, how do we navigate absence in our own lives? Do we close off, or do we create a space for what might return, holding on to that quiet optimism?
Good question. And a glimmer of that return appears in the most unassuming way. A young woman walks in who turns out to be Leo's sister, asking if Leo used to come there. She hands me a small notebook titled Chapter 1, and inside, in Leo's handwriting, is this incredible, hopeful line. Every story begins with a small moment. Mine began with a cup of coffee and a woman who didn't believe in love stories, but I did, and I still do. It's a quiet, renewed hope, and Mia continues to make 2 cups of coffee every morning.
Yeah, this gift of the notebook signifies that Leo hasn't forgotten her, and crucially that he's actively working on the promise of his return by writing his own story. It's a tangible link, isn't it? A lifeline that feeds Mia's sustained hope. The author uses this external object to manifest Leo's ongoing presence and his commitment to their story. The persistence of Mia's 2-cup ritual, now fueled by this new piece of evidence, really underscores the powerful human capacity for maintaining hope, not through grand gestures, but through these quiet, symbolic acts.
This quiet resilience then faces another trial in Chapter 4, lost, found, and self-discovery. 3 months pass. Mia continues her 2-cup ritual, reading Leo's notebook, wondering if he misses their mornings. Then, a devastating moment. She loses Leo's notebook in the park. She's absolutely heartbroken, and the source tells us it was the one part of Leo she could still touch. Losing it felt like losing him again. The next morning, she makes just 1 cup. The contrast is just stark.
It is stark. But this moment, while seemingly about loss, is actually a pivotal turning point for Mia's own journey. It's not just about Leo's return anymore. It's about Mia finding her own voice amidst this profound personal loss.
Ah, interesting.
The notebook, a tangible link to Leo and his story, becomes the unexpected catalyst for her own self-discovery when it's returned by a child. And what does the child write on the back? Books find their way home. I hope people do too. Such a simple, powerful message.
Wow.
This offers a profound universal truth. By losing and recovering the physical representation of her connection to Leo, Mia unlocks her own narrative. She begins to write not about Leo or love explicitly, but about the little things in her life. And by doing so, the story tells us she didn't feel so lost anymore. This truly highlights the transformative power of self-expression and finding your own story, even when the person who inspired it isn't physically present. It's an aha moment, not about romance, but about self-actualization.
It's so true. That makes so much sense. And this brings us to Chapter 5, Serendipity and Readiness, the letter in the book. Winter arrives, and Mia is noticeably different. She's living, not just waiting, reading, and writing more. Leo's notebook is safe, but she doesn't need to read it daily. She's cultivated her own inner peace, it seems. This internal shift feels really important, doesn't it?
Absolutely crucial. This internal shift in Mia's state is critical because it prepares her for what's to come. The narrative subtly shows that she's no longer defined by waiting for Leo, but by actively creating her own life, discovering her own narrative. It implies that genuine readiness for reconnection comes from a place of self-sufficiency and contentment, not desperation.
Right.
This isn't about Leo rescuing her. It's about 2 individuals becoming ready in their own right.
Exactly. And then this perfect moment of serendipity, an older woman enters the shop, finds the quiet heart. As Mia checks the book, an envelope slips out, addressed to Mia in Leo's neat, familiar handwriting. And the woman's parting words are loaded with meaning. He said this book belonged in your hands, just like the letter.
It's almost like the book itself is a messenger.
It really is. And this letter is Leo's loudest moment, even in its written form. It's a heartfelt confession of his continued need for Mia in his story. And significantly, it directly challenges his earlier belief that real things are always quiet. He writes, "But maybe love isn't quiet. Maybe it's the part of us that speaks the loudest, even when we say nothing." That's huge.
Yeah.
The act of sending the letter through the very book, The Quiet Heart, is deeply symbolic. The quiet heart of the story now carrying a loud, yearning message and a promise to return when Mia is finally ready. It's about synchronicity and readiness, illustrating that connection can return when the timing is right for both parties, not just one. It's a testament to the power of a deeply held, quiet promise. And Mia's reaction this time truly reflects her growth. She makes 2 cups of coffee, not out of habit this time, but out of hope. It's a conscious choice, a reimagined expectation. It feels like she's saying yes to the possibility, but completely on her own terms now, which sets the stage beautifully for Chapter 6, the quiet yes. The town is blanketed in snow, everything is still and peaceful, and just before closing, the bell rings. Mia hears footsteps, slow, familiar, a hesitation. And there Leo is, standing in the doorway, snow in his hair, his coat half-buttoned, his eyes unsure. The tension is palpable, isn't it?
Absolutely. Oh, the scene is so rich with unspoken meaning woven into every small detail. Leo's opening line, "I didn't want to miss winter," is a quiet apology for his long absence, right? Recognition of lost time, almost a re-engagement with the natural rhythm they once shared.
Yeah. And Mia's playful retort, "You're a few storms late," signals that while she's waited, she also acknowledges the space and time that passed. It's not just forgiveness.
No, exactly. And Leo's incredibly vulnerable admission of being stuck in edits and fear and everything else is powerful because it reveals his own internal struggles, his own journey. It demonstrates that he too has grown and faced his demons. His crucial question, is the second cup still waiting, isn't just about coffee. It's asking if the space for him and for their connection still exists after everything.
Such a loaded question.
It is, and Mia's silent act of pouring the coffee is her answer, a quiet affirmation that speaks more powerfully than any words. It shows that true communication in a relationship often goes beyond dialogue, residing in shared gestures and deep mutual understandings.
And the silence that follows is described as full. Just
Yeah.
full. It's so evocative. Leo then reveals he read Mia's published story, the one about the boy in the park and the second cup, saying, "I saw myself in every line." Then he pulls out a thin book, Chapter 1, but with a second line, by Leo and Mia. He rewrote it, mixing her words with his. It's an incredible symbol of their shared journey, of their individual narratives coming together. Mia asks, "So, what now?" And Leo's answer is simple, honest. "We take it slow, one morning at a time." And Mia's yes. It's described as not a dramatic yes, not a movie scene yes, just a quiet one, a real one.
That joint authorship of Chapter 1 isn't just sweet. It signifies a powerful new phase of co-creation in their relationship.
Yeah.
It's an acknowledgement that their individual narratives are now intertwined,
Right.
a truly collaborative effort. And Mia's quiet yes is profound, precisely because it's a fully integrated yes, born from patience, understanding, and a willingness to embrace the unassuming, unfolding nature of their connection. It's not a reaction to a grand romantic gesture, but to a promise of slow, deliberate, authentic commitment. It sort of redefines what yes truly means in a lasting relationship.
Finally, we arrive at Chapter 7, writing the ongoing story. A new chapter begins. The snow melts, spring arrives, and Mia and Leo settle into a new rhythm, not one made of routines, but of moments. They open the bookstore together, Leo works on his writing, and their communication relies on a glance, a smile, a shared silence between bookshelves. It feels so grounded, so real.
And that hidden notebook they keep behind the counter where they add a memory, a sketch, a single word becomes this beautiful metaphor for their evolving relationship, a continuous collaborative story that they're actively writing together day by day.
I love that.
And Leo's note, found later in Mia's coat pocket, about falling for her, not all at once, but through the echoes of your days, speaks to the depth of knowing someone, not just in the present, but through their personal history and quiet moments. It's an incredibly intimate way to describe the deepening of love, one that builds on shared life, not just shared dreams.
And the story doesn't shy away from imperfection, which I think is part of its honesty. It acknowledges that Leo would disappear into his writing, you would get impatient, but they talked really talk, not in dramatic scenes, but in the quiet way people do when they've chosen to stay. That feels like the true heart of the narrative for me.
Absolutely.
Mia's final realization, watching Leo humming, is that she didn't need fireworks or fairy tales anymore. She had a man who came back, a story that kept unfolding. And when a customer asks for love stories, Mia points to the shelf, but in her heart she knew her favorite love story wasn't in any book. It was still being written, one quiet day at a time.
Yeah, this powerful conclusion reinforces the core message that real love isn't a static destination. It's an ongoing, imperfect, but deeply rewarding process. It's built through consistent commitment, open communication, and mutual contribution. Mia's ultimate realization is an aha moment that transcends the romantic plot. It speaks to a deeper understanding of satisfaction and contentment found in the authentic, sometimes messy, but always unfolding reality of life and relationships. It's about finding profound meaning and genuine connection in the ordinary, in the quiet spaces that truly sustain us.
So what does this all mean for us, the listeners? This deep dive into a quote-unquote simple love story reveals some truly profound truths, I think. Love doesn't always need grand beginnings. Sometimes it just needs a quiet hello in a bookstore, a shared cup of coffee, or these patient gestures. It truly teaches us to look for the subtle cues, the gentle shifts, and the profound, understated power of quiet presence.
Indeed. Mia and Leo's journey teaches us that the most resilient connections aren't about perfection or rushing. They're about staying when things get quiet, showing up even when you're unsure, and writing your story one sentence at a time with someone who listens.
Yeah.
It's about finding something true in stillness and unflinching honesty. It reinforces the powerful idea that the most meaningful connections often flourish in the quiet, shared spaces between the loud moments where authentic life unfolds.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting for your own life. If a story written for English learners can hold this much truth and depth, what about your own narrative? What's the next sentence you need to write? Maybe it's a conversation you've been putting off, a quiet moment of reflection you need to take, or a small, patient gesture towards someone or something important in your life that you've maybe been overlooking. Remember, as this story beautifully reminds us, the best stories don't need to be loud or dramatic. They just need to be honest.
And just as Mia learned that love stories live beyond the pages of books, and Leo found peace in the most unexpected, unassuming places, perhaps the most valuable chapters of our own lives are the ones we are still quietly writing, one authentic day at a time. Consider what quiet, real steps you might take today to unfold your own story, inviting more depth and connection into your everyday.